So I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, we're getting ideas. How do we be together? We know we do a lot of doing here at Middle Church, but how is it that we are being together, doing justice in the world as in an ethical way, right? What does it mean to be as a congregation? Cheryl, is that what you're hearing too from Jackie, right? So I think we were going to just throw out some ideas of how we be together, what it looks like to be a congregation who is healing the soul and healing the world at both and at the same time. So what does it mean to be as a congregation? Like what Jackie was saying this morning in the sermon, taking care of oneself, forgiving others, forgiving oneself. That's often the harder thing to do. And so what does it look like being together as a congregation? So ideas. Now I can't take notes because I'm here.
Does everybody understand my question? How do we be? Short answers. How do we be? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wait, I think we're going to have to do this.
I am refreshed by your sermon. I said a prayer over the bread as I am Hebrew, which well, anyhow, that's neither here nor there. I wanted to say that in reference to your speech, healing, what I learned from aesthetic realism is I learned how to criticize myself.
Okay.
And when you spoke a great deal about healing, and how to make it better. I think the thing that could be more emphasized is that we need to be able to criticize ourselves so that we don't go just down the drain and go to that marvelous place that you described, where our sins are glorious and we fall in love with them. And
that's a really important thing.
I think we could do that better.
Yeah, thank you. A healthy ability to be self-critical is what she's saying, that doesn't take us to despair, right? Excellent. You go. That's exactly right. I think that's right. What else? What do we want to be? Yes, Sandy. Wait, Sandy. Wait for the mic. We've got do goals. We want some be goals, okay?
Not to be radical, to get out there with the 99%, to be in Washington, D.C., to make ourselves more visible publicly, politically, as well as socially in our community as a group, as a family group.
Okay.
Because Middle is a family.
Okay, be more more out there for the issues about which we care. Okay? Here, and then that mic's coming into Diana. Go ahead, Big.
Before we run out and try to save the world, we need to take care of ourselves in here. Get our own stuff in order, be at peace with what we got before we go run around trying to save everybody else.
Okay, Gloria, can I ask you one thing you think we could work on to save ourselves? Give me just one example.
I think it's just allowing each other space to be and respecting that space.
Okay.
And being okay with what someone is different than you are, has different views.
Yeah. Thank you, Gloria. If in a diverse place like this, that is really important because we are not alike. Yo no lo mismo de Carlos. Did I say that right, Carlos? I'm not the same.
I would say if we're going to get our stuff in order and do all the things everyone's saying, we could work on knowing each other's names.
Well,
I would like to know more people's names.
What's your name? No, thank you.
I'm Graham.
Thank you, Graham.
Hi.
Thank you, Graham.
So let's also say our names when we're speaking so we can practice.
Hey, I'm Diane. One thing I think I would like to see is, since we talk about healing and healing oneself, is to have altar calls where people are allowed to come and actually be prayed for and healed by the pastors. I think that it would be a great starting point, regardless of what your background faith is, just to be able to come to the altar and have the pastors
lay hands on. Yeah, okay, thanks, Diane. Okay. And then
Hello, everyone. My name is Lila. What I would like to see is more personal stories about our faith walk. We all come from different backgrounds, and I'm pretty sure at different points with everything that's going on in the world, we're struggling with our faith at a certain level. So I would like to hear more personal stories or testimonies about how we are growing our faith.
Wonderful, Lila. Testimonials, okay? All right? And then John.
I'm Denise. Oh, yeah, that is powerful. I was thinking during your sermon, you talked a lot about how, we're different. And sometimes we bump up against each other and we don't understand. And this week I was walking with something, I guess it was when we were thinking the same thing, that we have to have the courage then to start having the conversation so we start understanding.
Right.
It's easy to just keep distance when maybe we should be sitting down and talking with one another instead of at each other.
Yeah, that's great, Denise. Thank you. John?
Yeah, I'd like to see more recognition of diversity of views towards God, not just the major Christian, Muslim, Hindu, whatever, but how each of us see God.
Yeah,
And
that kind of individual sense of God image, John. You're talking about God.
I
Great.
see that more of that.
Great. Why don't you hand it to Matt? Thank you. To Mark, I mean.
Hi,
Great.
I'm Mark.
Hi, Mark, not Matthew.
I
sorry.
would add on to the diversity thing, but I think we need to get deeper. Because we talk about a lot of diversity and celebrating diversity and respecting each other, but we really don't know each other. So are we just respecting that your skin's darker than mine, or that you look different than me, or am I respecting that I actually know a little bit about you and I know
Right.
that you're different than me, and so I'm respecting that diversity?
That's
It's very surface level, I think.
Yeah, that's great. We really need to push deeper into relationships. That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. Who else? Thank you, Mark. I was going to tease you and call you Mark. Wrong name again. Go ahead.
I'm Gregory. I think
With
we
glasses.
Yeah, that's cool. And
right.
I think we should respect each other's coolness.
All right.
And each one of us is deep wherever we're coming from, and we love that. And
Right.
I think this young man over here is cool. I think that young lady over here is cool. And cool is
I think
Right.
Mark is cool.
yes, and it's powerful.
Okay, respect each other's coolness. Something about respecting each other's uniqueness.
Yes.
Right? Okay. What else? What other kinds of things are you thinking about? Back to Lisa?
I think we spend a lot of time calling out people's differences. I would like to see us spend more time calling out people's similarities
Okay.
and, just emphasizing how we're the same
Wonderful.
as opposed to, what divides us.
That's great, Lisa. Thank you. Great. Over there to Alex.
Hi, Alex. Along the same lines, I would love to see more programming that does that bridges our similarities. I think Middle does a great job on trying to be in the now and reacting to things, but I'm worried that we'll get spread thin with all the different issues. There's a lot of reconciliation between, for example, heterosexuals and homosexuals and that stuff, and all the socioeconomic issues that we deal with. And I would love to see if your plight is the same as my plight, and then what we can do to kind of help each other out.
Great, great. I really feel you yearning for something I'm yearning for, which is deeper connecting, right? Deeper connecting. Okay, wonderful. Small groups, absolutely. Okay, Gloria, and then, okay.
I'm Gloria, and I'm really curious about being able to tap into the skills and talents of our members in a different way, perhaps, so that people could kind of have a talent bank. If you need something, perhaps you could go to that place to get whatever it is that you need assistance with.
Thank you, love. That's a great idea. Okay, and then Trish, right here.
Hi,
and then
I'm
up to now.
Jane. I'm back here again from Australia, and it's lovely to be
Hey,
here
Jane
again.
from Australia.
And
Lovely.
it's been a beautiful week in New York, and I've been to the Penn International Literary Festival, and there's a lot of talk about identity, and you think it's identity boundaries, and where do we meet in the middle? So it's like that thing about values. You know who you are, but you're not better or worse than anyone else. You just are. And then yesterday I was at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and we kept getting lost. And there was a little picture of Jerusalem, and it was just like a little village with a little temple with a little mud wall around it. And you think all that fighting and all that misery for so many years.
Exactly.
You know, and you think, well, it's a boundary thing, isn't it? And we have to be very able to. So it's sort of about security and identity, but then the ability to morph across boundaries so that you're not creating problems.
Barriers.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's great, Mary. Thank
But
you.
it's
I hear
beautiful
that.
to be here.
It's beautiful. Yeah, thank you. 2 more, and then we're going to get into some small groups, okay? So you can talk to each other without the mics. Okay.
Hi, my name's Rhea.
Hi, Rhea.
And I wanted to sort of supplement what you were saying about a talent bank, because there are many of us who do many different things in the world, and doing them in the world is wonderful. Doing them in this context is also wonderful, and to create a kind of spirit of how those two experiences could be shared and feed each other, how a more spiritualized practice in the world can bring that also back in here. So there are
Wonderful.
people who do things like Reiki, or people who are teachers, or people who are artists. I would love the idea of some teaching in terms of prayer, so that more of us could be lay ministers and have prayer circles that we offer to each other as leaders of prayer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Natalie. So I would just like to see more activities that involve children. You know, these can be such great teachers of how we be together. And I would really like to see more in service, in celebration, more children. And more so just like the practical things like, you know, bonding of families through service.
Okay.
And then other practical thing is, you know, somehow creating some sort of activity where the church doesn't have to bear the cost of childcare, where the child doesn't have to bear the cost of childcare, but we can make that available so parents can participate in adult ed, because a lot of times I feel like I miss out on opportunities because I don't necessarily have a trusted place for someone to watch them.
Really important. Thank you so much, Nat. Really important. How many of you belong to the church? That's awesome. So let me do it the other way. How many of you haven't joined yet? Okay. I'm not trying to shame you. I'm so proud that you're here. This is like 70 people I counted. That's a huge turnout on a Sunday afternoon for a congregational meeting, and I was thinking more members. That's awesome. If you haven't joined and you want to join, we want you to join. Christina wrote this great note to the young adults saying, you're not becoming a member. She said you're joining a movement. People say Middle Church is a movement, and you being here, like in other congregations, you couldn't come to the meeting if you weren't a member. You had to be the hoi polloi, the hotsy-totsies. But we want everyone who wants to come and have a voice. But I'm also inviting you to join, because joining ups the ante in your stake, okay? It just does. Joining says, yes, I'm down. Joining shapes some of the way our budget comes from collegiate because of the numbers of members we have. I'm saying. There's something in it for you and something in it for us. So thank you for this. Now, the next project is the finance team is going to meet with Chad.